Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey everybody, it's Tuesday night, which means it's another live Wicked Horror Show. I'm Kevin, and as always, I'm joined by Tony.
What is going on, people?
And Tony, would you like to introduce our very special guest?
I will. The director of the movie called Flesh, which is out now on Amazon Prime, but also physical media. Nikk Bergman, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. It is awesome to be here.
Well, thanks for coming on. So yeah, you're a young filmmaker. Looking at your IMDb, you've dabbled in shorts for a while, and this is your first feature. And you can watch it if you have Prime. It's available on Prime. Like if you are a Prime subscriber, you don't have you get it for free. So that's pretty awesome. So that's a pretty big deal, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So
how, going from jumping from shorts to your first feature. It says you've been doing it since 2009. So was it something where you just weren't comfortable with the stories to go that far, or you just wanted to do it right? You just I need to just get everything down first.
I think it was one of those, I kind of wanted to do it right. It's one of those, it is a very big project to take on, especially, really limited crew, really limited funds. And this wasn't even supposed to be a feature length film. It was supposed to be another short. We were aiming for 20 or so minutes. And as we started filming, things were actually going surprisingly well, which never happens. We're like, wow, this is, might even be 40 minutes. And then, we added scenes, kept going with stuff. When I sat down and got kind of the rough edit together, I saw it was, all right, well, I guess we got a feature length film now. So it was sort of an accident. It wasn't ever anything I intended, because I just figured it was kind of too bold of a project to try and take on. But, well, I guess it wasn't, because we managed to make it happen.
Yeah. And then you're able to get it on streaming platforms and stuff like that, which is, that just gets eyes on it. And
it definitely has. It kind of blew me away how many people have seen it now. It's weird to kind of go on and look, because there'll be certain spikes where I don't know what happens. It just sort of seems like a lot of people are watching it, and it's weird to see people in the United Kingdom even watching it, because I don't know anybody over there. Right. So it's definitely helping people get their eyes on it, which is a really cool thing.
Yeah. Well, I think especially in the beginning of the pandemic, I think that's what everybody turned to, because they didn't have the mainstream movies to go by. So they went to a lot of the streaming services with Amazon Prime or Netflix or Shudder or something, or Tubi or something like that. So I think a lot of people are now looking for, movies on the streaming platforms as opposed to, the theaters and stuff. So I think that might have helped a little bit too.
It's also
I think so, definitely.
Yeah. It's also pretty unfortunate. Before the pandemic, I was all about movie theaters. I was going to the movies almost every week. And it's I can count on one hand how many times I've been in the last 2 years. But at the same time, too, it's I get it. I want to be safe.
It's definitely.
But I want to see the stuff. I want to see the movies. We were talking about Antlers, because that was a movie that they started promoting before the pandemic, and I was super excited for it. And they just held it off and held it off and held it off. They finally released it, and they didn't. It wasn't a disappointment in my eyes. I thought it was fantastic, but it's one of those ones that we're just oh, Jesus Christ, do I have to wait for this to hit the theaters to see it?
Yeah.
But I didn't. But yeah, speaking of antlers, there are some sort of antlers in your movie, like that little.
There are.
Yeah. So there's a lot of visual coolness. We're big fans of practical effects.
Is there all we could afford?
Yeah. Well, but sometimes that adds, especially with independent stuff, it adds to the charm, and it adds to the passion of it too,
Exactly. That's one of my favorite parts to do of it, is all the effects and stuff. I couldn't imagine I think even if I had the budget, I would still do as much practical as I could pull off.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if you had a bigger budget, do you think that you would would you hire someone to do it, or would you still want your hands involved in that?
I think I would definitely want some extra people, but I'd still like to at least do something with it. I mean, it would
Yeah.
definitely take some of the stress off of me. One less thing I've got to do, but I would still like to be involved in at least in some way.
Yeah. Now is there like, as far as independent filmmakers, is there any independent filmmakers that like have inspired you, like from the last bunch of years? Like, is there any movies out there that you're like, oh wow, this guy's really he makes me want to go out and make a movie, you know?
I recently have been getting really into a lot of the stuff A24's been doing with Ari Aster. I've just sort of I'm still like remember the first time I watched Hereditaries, and it's definitely I like seeing stuff like that where it's people with, you know, they are lower budget, you know, not big name directors, stuff like that. It kind of makes me feel better. Like, hey, maybe I can do this. And a lot of times, at least recently, I've been watching like a lot of the more like super low budget, like more exploitation films from like the 80s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's another really, it's like watching the making of, you're like, wow, they're doing okay, the same stuff I'm doing, and they've got these movies that are now like cult hits. So it's cool getting to see. Yeah, it's definitely inspires me and definitely makes me feel
there's a bunch of directors out there that really go for the gore factor, that are like, they really pull it off. Like, it's I'm trying to think who did was it Unearthed Films who did song was it American Guinea Pig, Song of Solomon?
Yeah,
yeah.
Jessica Cameron and
yeah. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love
And that, yeah, Marcus. Yeah, Marcus did the effects on that, and I'm not gonna say his last name because I mess it up every time, but he's done a bunch, and like that dude, he had a movie called I forget, it was a clown movie from years ago. I forget.
Not vulgar.
No,
I can't think of it.
I can't think of it either, but that's okay.
100 Tears?
Yes, 100 Tears. That's it. 100 Tears. But yeah, and then there's like Scott Sherman or Shermer, who did like Found and Headless and all these other movies. That there's a lot of really, really cool, like low budget gore that's out there. And like it just fits in that category. You know, you don't have a ton of blood, but you have the blood that you do have is effective. And there's things in this that always creep me out, no matter how well they're done. Like anything with fingernails is always going to creep me out. Always. Fingernails and paper cuts. I don't know why.
Yeah, fingernails that's why I put that scene in the movie, because that's something that always kind of bugs me. And it's actually, when we had our screening of the movie, that scene actually caused somebody to get up and leave. She
really?
Yeah, she walked out, and the owner of the theater kind of talked to her. She's like, what? You know, everything all right? She's like, yeah, I can't do the fingernails. And she got up and left.
Wow. She should have just waited and came back. It's not like it's going to happen forever. But yeah, I was just like, oof. Yeah, this is rough. And it's like at the same time too. It's like I can kind of figure out how it was done, but it's still, you just think of it happening and you're just like, God damn it. So that's good. Good on you for finding something like that and making sure you creep someone out to the point first movie you get someone walking out because they're creeped out.
I know that's awesome. What we were all like crazy excited when we heard about it after we were like, that's, you know, not that you want that, but that is kind of a cool thing to be.
You should have got like a quote from her and just put that on the Blu-ray.
Say,
like, the fingernails are disgusting. I had to leave. You know, whatever.
I wish I could have caught her as she was leaving. I noticed somebody left, but it was, you know, in the chaos, everything, I didn't get a chance to talk to her before she headed out.
Yeah. So do you want to maybe give a little rundown, like a synopsis of what the movie's about for anyone who may be interested in checking it out?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's essentially the story. It follows mainly one actress, our character Emily, who gets kidnapped from a truck stop and is forced to kind of be a part of this weird ritual. And once she escapes from her kidnapper, she, you know, takes refuge in a local hotel and starts to notice a lot of weird things going on with her body. Like, you know, the scene where her nails come off, she starts losing some teeth. She notices she's a lot stronger. She's getting these really weird cravings, and it just kind of keeps going downhill for her. And it's sort of a race for time for her to figure out, you know, what's even happening to her and if she can stop it or not.
Yeah. And it just progressively gets more and more gory, and, you know,
the visuals too. I was gonna say, I think Wolfie would definitely enjoy it because it kind of reminds me of like the Italian, the color schemes and all that of like the
Which that was
Argentos
one
and
of the
stuff like that.
that was like one of the biggest inspiration for all the sort of weird hallucination scenes in the one alley shot where everything's really pink. That was like one of the biggest inspiration. I love vibrant horror movies.
Yeah, unfortunately, Wolfie doesn't have Prime because he is Abraham Lincoln, or he's that old. He's very old, and he refuses to get with the times. He would have been on, but he hasn't seen the movie, so he didn't want to. In his defense, he's in the right.
Yeah.
Why come on to talk about a movie you haven't seen? But that being said, there is a trailer that I'd like to play. So here is the trailer for Flesh, and again, this is streaming right now on Amazon Prime for free if you have Prime. Is it streaming anywhere else? Do you know?
Right now, it's just on Prime. But even if you don't have like the subscription for Amazon Prime, you can still rent it. I think it's like a few bucks, or you can buy it digitally, or you can buy the physical media from our Etsy.
Nice. All right, so here's the trailer for Flesh.
Are you gonna kill me?
Forest is sick. It demands sacrifice.
Some really weird stuff has been happening to me. I've been having these really bad headaches. My fingernails have fallen off. I've lost a lot of weight and...
Emily, what in the hell is going on? What happened to you?
No sin goes unpunished.
There we go. There's the trailer for Flesh. Again, streaming right now on Prime, or you can rent it if you don't have Prime.
Or you can buy a physical copy.
Exactly. Go to the Etsy and buy the physical copy. And did you watch the physical copy, Tony?
I did not. I got it a few days ago. And with work, I haven't been able to sit down and watch the physical copy.
I have a job. So is there any like special features or anything like that on the disc if they go to Etsy and buy one?
There is actually. We've got some deleted scenes, blooper reel. We did a cool sort of classic monster movie black and white version of the film, as
Oh,
well
really?
as some interviews with the cast and a short making of as well.
That's cool. The black and white thing would be interesting. It would almost be. I mean, I know it's wicked tough to do, but if you could like like in Sin City where they singled out like a single color kind of deal,
Yeah.
that would be cool. But yeah, either way, I mean, the black and white version would probably be just as neat. Um, so that's awesome. So going back to before you did Flesh, how like have you always done this genre of of movie? Have you always done horror, or have you ever dabbled in other stuff?
For the most part, it's been horror. When I was a teenager, we did like a few little comedy skits and stuff for YouTube. But as far as like any projects I really put, a lot of effort into, it's
Like
mainly been just
anything
horror.
you're proud of, yeah. It's like I was actually we were talking about your age and my age, and actually the stuff that I was doing when I was your age is embarrassing. It's all stuff that I don't want anyone to see. So,
That's
um,
that's the same
yeah,
with a lot of the stuff I did.
yeah. Do you have your shorts up anywhere, or is there anywhere where people can go to check it
Uh,
out?
yes, on our YouTube channel, we've got some of our more short films. Most of them are still on there, as well as the sort of bigger one that we did before Flesh is up on our YouTube as well.
Nice. And what's the YouTube? Is it just the Wendigo or
Yep, Wendigo Pictures.
Wendigo Pictures? Okay. And so you named the company Wendigo Pictures, and this is kind of about a Wendigo, right? So is
Yes.
that yeah, is that was it Wendigo Pictures before Flesh, or was it something that you're like,
Yes.
okay, this is okay. So
It was
you've
before
been
that.
a little obsessed with Wendigos?
A little bit. I
Yeah.
like the creature, and I just thought it was kind of a cool word as it is, and then I added the like GOH at the end because I've been really inspired by Van Gogh growing up.
Hmm.
So just kind of my own version of that.
Nice. One of our regulars that's not in the chat room, Sergio, I don't know what's going on, but he always asks if like what your favorite horror movie was. I know it's a softball question, but he always asks, so I'm going to ask him for him. Do you
Ooh,
have a favorite? It's tough. I know it's tough because there's subgenres. Like I have multiple favorite horror movies. It all
is
depends on my
that's
mood.
how mine? I would say my top two, at least, are John Carpenter's The Thing and Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Nice, nice. Creature's really good. It's one of those ones that everyone gives all the love to Dracula and Frankenstein. That being said, Frankenstein's my favorite Universal monster, but I still love all of them. And I do another show called Black and White Fright, and we've done a lot of Bela Lugosi movies, and I'm not a fan of Bela Lugosi anymore. Like, he's not a great actor. He's really not a great actor. He was good in Dracula, and
He,
I think that's about it.
yeah, he's definitely he's a character actor, but it's one character.
Oh yeah, totally. There was a movie that he was in, and he was supposed to be part of like an Italian gang, like a mafia gang, but he didn't try to change his accent in any way, shape, or form.
Yikes.
And he's just like, oh, blah, blah, blah." I'm just like, how's he supposed to be Italian? This is not funny. But I don't know. But anywho, enough about that. So
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say because I always ask this most of the time though. There's a difference between maybe your favorite movies like that you watched. Was there a movie that like got you to want to do it? Like you watched a movie and you're like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what kind of catapulted you into wanting to make a movie, or
And
is it one
even
of the
yeah,
ones that you
besides
watched?
just the movie, but even like the effects side of it too. Like, well, I mean, John Carpenter's The Thing, I'm sure helped quite a bit. Like
Yeah.
trying to but
I
yeah,
think
sorry.
what I think really got me into it was around the time I had like started making like little movies in my basement with my friends. I got really into all the George Romero zombie movies. Especially like Day of the Dead was one that really stuck with me, and that was where I was like, I should make zombie movies. I could do all these special effects, and I got really like fixated with Tom Savini and all like the different. So I was watching every movie he did effects on, and I would definitely say I think George Romero's zombie movies and Tom Savini's makeup are what got me into okay, this is what I want to do with my life.
Nice. Have you ever met Tom?
I have actually. I met him at a Comic Con, the first Comic Con I ever went to, and I was like absolutely starstruck the entire time.
Yeah. I luckily didn't panic when I met him. Well, I just talked to him about coffee for like maybe like 10, 15 minutes. Not to plug our
He's one of the
sponsor again.
nicest people.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he totally was. But Deadly Grounds Coffee, like they do a lot of the cons around here, and they pretty much fuel everybody. Like they sell the coffee, and they're like giving out free samples and stuff like that. So he was back and forth to Deadly Grounds booth, and we just stopped and talked about coffee for a while. And I didn't talk to anything about movies, nothing about effects, nothing. I'm sure he probably enjoyed that, the fact that I didn't bring that up. But
Yeah.
yeah, he was very nice, and I've only seen him like once or twice at a con, but I leave the people that are going to geek out to him because I usually am there for like I have a booth or something like that. But let me see.
Now with your with the feature film, do you use like the same actors for your shorts and the feature, or did you have to go out and like bring different people in, and how did that work?
With it being, I live in a really small area, so there's not really a big artistic community. So it is, a lot of the same people that are interested in it. But I think even if it was a bigger area, I use sort of the same people because they're all, reliable, they're interested in, and they are insanely talented. I hadn't filmed in years with our main actress. She was one of the people I was like filming with my basement in when I was a little kid because I've known her forever. And she had just moved back to the area right before we started filming and reached out like, hey, I heard you guys still need an actress. Could I do that? And it was, she absolutely killed her performance. So I do end up tending to kind of stick with the same actors. Just a lot of them are my friends. They also, can do crew member jobs too. So yeah,
you know how they work.
Yeah,
exactly how they work, and that will work. So we have a couple people. So Alfredo saying hi. How are you? We're good.
Hi.
How are you? And we have Dawn Dethridge. I don't know if I know Dawn.
Oh, I know her. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. She's saying hello. Hi, Dawn.
Hi, Dawn.
Now, has Dawn been in any of your movies, or?
She is not, but her daughter is my girlfriend Sydney, and she has been sort of reluctantly in the last two that I've done.
Oh, really? Who was she in this one?
In Flesh, she was the waitress and the spirit of the Wendigo.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't realize
and there
that
were
was the same person.
And she was also in a couple scenes because she was the only person small enough to fit in the Wendigo costume. She kind of got stuck with that role too in a couple scenes.
Well, you got to do what you got to do, right? You got to do what you got to do. No, that's exactly. Pretty awesome. I was going to guess that. Well, not guess, but I didn't know if you lived in the small town. But I'm like, they have a payphone still. I'm like, this cannot like you're on the streets. I'm like, there's probably just no one out. Like, I don't know if it was something it
was really like the middle of nowhere. It kind of there's just nothing. I think the only scene that was really busy was the one alley scene because we were like an hour away in a bigger area at like dinner time. So there were a bunch of people like eating their meal about 50 feet away from where she's having a breakdown in an alley, and we've got all our lights and stuff.
Yeah.
That was good.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, I wonder if they needed like permits, or it was one of those. I was
thinking the same exact thing.
Shoot on the fly kind of deal. Like, okay, no one's here now. Let me take this and do it like as fast as we can.
That's
kind of deal.
That's kind of what we do, and it seems like at least once with every project, the cops show up at some point. And it's kind of like, hey, what are you guys doing? Everybody's all right, but it seems like almost every time we were trying to shoot something with this project, somebody showed up at some point, and you kind of got to explain what you're doing.
It would have been great if you just panned back, or maybe in the bloopers, if like she's having a breakdown, you just pan up and there's a family just eating their dinner in the window. Like, huh? Like, what's going on out there? And then
it was they were like right across the street, a like outdoor patio, and they just kind of like kept looking over because she's like talking to herself and screaming and crying in an alley.
Yeah, like there's some people filming someone having a horrible breakdown over there. We should probably call someone, but dinner is delicious, so we're gonna have to continue eating.
It's dinner and show.
Yeah, for real though. Like as soon as I saw the payphone, I'm like, I don't think I've seen a payphone. I can't even think of the last time I saw. Like I think it was in like up in the mountains in New Hampshire. Like legit, you go up this mountain and it's like a payphone, and we would take a picture of my dog next to it all the time.
It didn't even work too. Like you'd put the coin in and it would just shoot right out the bottom. There was no dial tone or anything. We just needed it to be there, thankfully.
Yeah, and it worked because there's no cell phone booth. That'd be weird. No, but it definitely added to it though. And it's the small town. You can tell it's a small town, and I think it plays to the story where it's like the isolation, and at the same time too, like there's no one there that can really help her. So it's like,
Yeah,
there's like
that's
literally no one there. It's, if it was New York City, there'd be all these people around. So it's, I don't know. I think it added to the grime of the movie. You know?
it was definitely one of those times where I was kind of, most times I'm not grateful to live in a small area, but this time I was. It made it a lot easier to film, and it did help us get that isolation. We don't got to worry about, okay, we got a bunch of people walking on the street. We got to kind of shoot around. It's usually, okay, nobody's out and about.
Yeah. And did you film this? You filmed it during the pandemic, right?
Yeah, we filmed it the summer of 2020. So right when things were sort of kind of feeling like they were getting a little back to normal, but not really. You couldn't really eat inside anywhere. Most places were still shut down.
Yeah. Now, well, that's another reason why it's good to work with your friends and stuff like that, because you know what their situation is, and
Exactly. Well, and all of us, except like 2 cast members, we all worked at the exact same place, so we would see each other almost every day anyway. So it was really.
So payphones are scarce there. Thanks, Don. They're even more scarce here. I'm in Central Mass, and it's like, I can't even think of the last time I saw one. Yeah, Michael. So you have some fans. Awesome, Nikk. I don't know if you saw this, but Brandy says
Yeah.
hi.
Oh, that's my
So-
mom.
Brandy's your mom?
Yeah, her voice is in the movie briefly.
Oh, really? But who's?
Yeah, we needed
what
somebody
voice-
to. She is Emily's mom on the one phone call that Miranda makes to her. I needed a voice sort of last minute, so I ran upstairs to the kitchen and was like, "Hey, read this for me real quick."
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
cool. Like you did a good job.
She helped us make a handful of the props as well too. She did like our bone wind chimes and helped with the antler crowns and helped with some
Nice.
funding. And she's definitely a crew
That's-
member. She did come out
that's
on
pretty awesome.
one filming, but
That's
she was
that's
a set
that's pretty
hand
great.
once. But then
Yeah,
she
I
sprained her ankle the one time she came out
Oh.
to help, so that kind of put her out of commission for the rest of the
Yeah.
movie.
But it's still, though, it's pretty awesome to have like a parent that's that involved, and that
It
that
is.
cool. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, it's
It
good to
is
have that
always
support.
she has been more than supportive. Kind of let me sort of destroy her basement with fake blood growing up, and always kind of been there to not only be okay with what I'm doing, but help me and keep cheering me on the whole time. It's definitely nice to have that good support system.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
So how big of a crew did you have? Like how many hats did you have to wear?
he had a lot. If you look at
Pretty
the
much
IMDb,
all of them, but we had a total cast and crew together was only 7 people, and the most we ever had at one time working together was 6, and that was like one day. Most of the time it was 5 or less of us trying to do everything, so it was definitely limited people.
yeah. Now you directed, you did the effects. Did you do the music as well, like the score and everything?
Yeah, me and my friend who's a musician, Ark Strider, he helped me with it, but I kind of went through and did sort of the synthesizer and all of the fill-in stuff, as well as like the sound editing and all of that.
Nice. Yeah, so you did all the editing, you did all that.
Yep.
So see, when that's the thing that's I was asking before, like with the effects, if you would let someone do it. So like, I'm sure like your plan is to continue doing this and continuing to grow.
Yes.
At some point, you're gonna have to let other people do stuff.
Mm.
Like, do you think that you'd be okay with that? Like, I don't know. It's
Certain
tough.
parts. Yeah, there's always the risk of, what if somebody doesn't, how to do it the way I want to do it. But there's a lot of things like running the camera. I hate having to do that and try to direct. So I would love to eventually have a big enough crew where I'm not, running the camera or having to worry about all the cinematography stuff, or editing is just a pain in the ass. So I would love to have an editor at some point. There's, I'd like to be involved as much as I can, but I would like to wear a few less hats when making these.
Yeah, I mean, it would free up your mind as well to like focus
Absolutely.
more on the directing or whatever. But that being said, I thought the music was good. I thought the the cinematography was good. The effects
you.
were crazy. Like I thought they were.
Thank
like,
you.
I was like, oh, I love seeing this the like successful attempts like in a lower budget movie, because sometimes they try and they just don't come off right. But
Yeah.
you were really working well with angles and stuff like that to cover your bases. It was good.
It's a lot
And then-
of years of doing it wrong sort of shows you, all right, here's how to make this look not as
Yeah.
bad or not as cheap, and how to shoot things. It's definitely a lot of trial and error.
Yeah. Tony.
And it went from like, especially towards the end is when like the gore and everything really started happening. But even before that, I was like bringing up the Italian horror and the color scheme, and I'm like, okay, if this movie's the whole like this the whole way, I'm like, I'm fine with it. And then towards the end, I'm like, okay, this is where it picks up, and then definitely gets into like another gear, and it just had that perfect transition for me. So I definitely dug it for sure.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It was definitely kind of what we were going for with the end. Is it sort of comes out of nowhere, and it just, the stakes raise up as soon as she starts, hitting the final transformation there.
Yeah. There was definitely a few, like, I don't want to give too much away because I mean
Yeah.
there's a lot in the trailer that's like I didn't realize that the fingernails were in the trailer, but there's a part where let's just say she doesn't have hair, and as that's progressing I was like, wow, that looks really cool. It just looks really, really neat. And I don't know, just I don't even know how I would begin that process. Like, so good on you. You're half my age, and you are way smarter,
Thank you.
and definitely more talented. So that's a plus. But I don't know. It's impressive.
Now you were talking about how
Thank you.
your mother helped fund it and whatever. Did you do a crowdfunding thing, or how'd you get some of the other funds for the movie itself?
It was really just I kicked around crowdfunding, but in the past I haven't had like a lot of success with it. And this was one of those I wanted to see how much, I could do with what I could scrape up. So I, a little bit of what I had savings, threw some stuff on a credit card, and the first stimulus check we got helped out a little bit with that too, because I was still working at the time, so I didn't need it to cover bills or anything. So I could put that into, okay, we can, afford to do a little more effects wise.
Yeah. And Don's pointing out that the special effects were awesome, and they were great.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah. So what's next? Like, what do you what are your plans? Like, where do you see yourself going? Do you have anything in the works, like any scripts or anything you can talk about?
Yeah, actually, I don't want to give too much away, but there's two projects right now. I'm just right now going through which one do I want to tackle first. We're planning on working on an anthology film. Kind of have each of the crew members write their own little thing and do that, and then there's another one I'm in the writing stages of right now that's sort of like a psychological mental health horror movie. That's really as much as I can give out right now because it is still in the early stages. But so right now I'm just deciding which one of those I want to start shooting. Hopefully late spring, early summer, start filming the next project because it's been too long without filming and I'm ready to get started again.
Yeah. I mean, you finished this. When did you finish this? It was
June, July of 2021.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see. I'm looking on IMDb currently, but so yeah. I mean, that's something where like if I don't do this, like if I miss a week, I feel like crap. I didn't do anything. Like, and
yeah, I do. I'm the same way. If I'm not doing something for it, I feel wrong. Like like there's just something missing. I always feel like I'm doing something movie wise.
Yeah. Well, the good thing, like we were talking about how you've tried crowdfunding in the past, but now you have a feature that people can see, like proof of concept kind of deal.
Exactly.
Like, okay, he's not just some dude with an old camcorder like running around in the woods. Like, that's not what it is. What kind of camera was that, by the way? Everything was like very crisp.
It was a Sony A7 II, I want to say, and then there were like one or two quick scenes that were shot on my phone.
Oh yeah, well, and I mean, sometimes if it's appropriate, it. There was a feature that came out like a few years ago.
That was literally on.
Great.
It was the whole thing was on an iPhone. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool that the technology because I legit had to use VHS tapes when I was a kid, but whatever.
It's a lot better than what I started with.
Yeah. And it's way cheaper now too than it was back when I was trying to do stuff. Like, I don't know, like it's really cool. But so with this proof of concept, for this, do you think you may go crowdfunding route down the road?
Absolutely. Now that I have a little bit more to, like you said, like more to show for it, I'm not just, hey, I want to make a movie. It's, hey, I have made a movie. I want to make another one. So we're planning on doing an Indiegogo campaign for it. Once I, really set in stone which project I want to do and get a little bit more that I can let people know about it. But absolutely, because I would like to have a little bit more of a budget to work with so I could do a little bit more with it.
Yeah. And would you ever try to bring any new actors in? Like, if you're doing like an anthology, like I know a lot of them, like when they get to a certain point, they'll bring on like kind of like a horror icon kind of deal.
Yeah, I would absolutely. I would love to.
Nice. Who
is
do
there
you want
a
to work
bucket
with?
list?
Yeah.
I have a few, bucket list. One, I believe you guys actually had her on here. She was the siren in VHS.
Yes.
Hannah
Fearman.
Butchering that last name. Yeah, I would love to work with her. And like Kane Hodder, really any of the big horror, horror greats.
Have you ever met Kane?
I have not. I met Robert Englund. I haven't got to meet Kane yet.
He's awesome. Like he's very
everything
cool.
I've heard is just beyond great about him. He's definitely one I would love to meet.
Yeah, we had him on. Like he was only supposed to be on for 15 minutes. He was sick, and then he came on and he did the whole hour, and it was just like he was cool.
That is awesome.
So
that whole around that time we were getting, because we had Sid Haig on. We had like we were getting like
I saw that. That was
we were getting like all these like legends on, and it's just like. We like to trickle it in.
Cool.
We like to trickle it in. I always tell people, like we want our horror icons, but we also want first time filmmakers. We want like people that haven't even made a film yet. They're looking to make a film, kind of deal. Like it's got to start somewhere, right? So
because it's amazing how like doing this podcast, it opened my eyes to so many different things. Because before I came on here and learned about the craziness of making a movie, I had no idea. I was just like every other fan where it was just like, I watch a movie and, it might not be something I like. And I didn't rip on it like some people do that go on and just say whatever the hell they want to say, like they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But then having, even on some of these, you have your micro budget, you have your like low budget, but then you have your other ones. The same thing happens from, I'm sure you said it kind of ran smoothly, but I'm sure you had your, days where it didn't go as well.
Oh,
and
absolutely. Every day there was always something.
Most fans wouldn't even understand that. Wouldn't know, like, okay, maybe you had 10 days to shoot this, and 4 of the days something happened, so you had to rush with the 6 days or something like that with a budget, and people have no idea, and then they're like, oh, well, this was, doing this just opened my eyes to so many different routes and things, so...
It really, the more experience you get with it, you start watching movies, differently.
Yep. Yeah, totally do. Like the first time I met Kane was on a movie set. So I got to see a lot of cool stuff.
Wow.
And it was just like, first off, that was amazing. And then like, I don't know, like I got to see like not how everything worked. I was only there for a day, but still like I got to see a lot. And I was like, this is crazy. Like this is a job, this is legit.
Yeah, it is a lot of work.
Yeah. People put a lot of work, a lot of time, and there's people getting yelled at. There's people like just sitting there all day that they can't do anything. Like they kept us in the area where all the extras were, there was like these extras for a prison riot. It was just us and these guys that are in the prison outfits for this prison riot. And it's just like, and then like Kane came in to do his interview and they kicked everyone out except for us. And he's like yelling and whatever. And then he sits down. He's just laughing. He was being funny. He was being funny, but he like that can just intimidate you. It's crazy. Like he could just turn it on.
I'm sure he's a
scary
dude when he wants to be.
Yeah, but he's a total sweetheart.
That's what I've heard.
Don't tell him I said that. But but I mean that's something that's that's definitely doable. I mean, Hannah Fairman is poking around in a lot of independent stuff lately, and Felissa Rose is poking around in a lot of stuff too. So that's
it's definitely something I would love to get kind of some bigger bigger names in it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because we had the last like 3 weeks, we had people from a movie called Time's Up coming out, and then what is it, Dark Circles?
Dark Circles, Wolf Hollow.
Wolf Hollow. There's a whole bunch, and I was gonna say too, like there's nothing wrong with bringing on the same people, because we've said it many a times where when you're comfortable with, the people you're working with, it shows on the screen. Sometimes, you bring in people that, might not mesh well, and then, they might be, bigger names or something, but you could tell that there's nothing there, but you could tell a movie where everybody's comfortable working with each other to ones that are just kind of thrown together. So working with people, like you said, it was easier. You know how they work.
Yeah,
what they
it
do.
really helped this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it shows. So just real quick, because I should have played a little while ago, but we do have another sponsor. It's Silk City Hot Sauce. So I'm going to play their little promo thing, and there's a discount code. If you go to their website and use the code DORK, you get some percentage off and a free bottle of hot sauce. So here is that little ad that I put together that is not very good. Here we go.
Greetings, Spice fans. Silk City Hot Sauce is now sponsoring the Dorkening Podcast Network. Our craft sauces are made in Vermont in small, high-quality batches using locally sourced, farm-grown ingredients. Silk City Hot Sauce comes in a variety of heat strengths and killer flavors like Jezebel, Erotic Fever, Mango Madness, and Good Morning Jonestown. And don't forget our newest creation, Hot Syrup. Make no mistake, Spice fans, this is the queen of sweet heat. There's new and unique flavors coming out all the time. Best of all, right now, listeners of the Dorkening Podcast Network can go to silkcityhotsauce.com and use coupon code DORK. Not only will you get 20% off your order, we'll also throw in a free bottle of hot sauce. That's silkcityhotsauce.com. Coupon code DORK.
And I can speak to their quality of hot sauce. It is very good. Yeah,
It sounds good.
Yeah. We have like hot syrup and stuff like that.
I was about to say, did you try that? Sounds.
No, I tried the hot sauce. One of the other shows on the network, Toking, still Toking. It's Toking with the Dead guys. They have their own hot sauce through that company, and I tried that, and I was like, oh, okay. I bought a bottle. I'm like, it kind of kicked me in the back of the throat. That's cool. But I mean, I'm a fan. I put hot stuff on everything, so I'm gonna have to, before that promo is done, I have to buy some, because a free bottle's a free bottle. I'm sorry. I don't care what it is. It's free. But yeah, so with the possibility of doing Indiegogo and bringing more people in, like, how big scale? Like, do you want to go major, like, you know what I mean, like big time, or do you want to stay like the independent circuit where that people aren't going to touch your stuff?
Yeah, I think I'd like to stay, I don't want to do anything like big blockbuster. We got all this, big studio interference. I'd like to stay, relatively independent. Like I'd love to work with Shudder someday. I love any of the content they've been putting out, or I'd like to work with Crypt TV. I'd like to stay fairly independent, so I know, my vision is still good or bad is at least going to be what the final product of the movie is. I'd like to still have that bit of control, that I'm not going to have a bunch of hands, too many cooks in the kitchen with it.
Yeah.
But it looks like, you have your own picture, like Wendigo pictures and stuff, and then you released your own physical media. So that's where sometimes people get stuck where, okay, should I go to like a bigger, distribution company or something like that? So you at least got that under your belt where, you have a physical thing to show for it. And that's when we have certain people on, it's like, we're shopping our movie around. You took that, initiative and made your own physical media. So I think you have a step up on some.
It's proof you can do it yourself, because it was sort of intimidating for a while until I, took the time, looked into it, and it was worth putting a little money into it, because you do get that satisfaction of you're in control of it, you're making it yourself, how the final product's going to turn out.
Yeah. And there's one of our like longtime friends, this guy James Balsamo, who used to work for Troma, and he does his own movies and stuff like that. But he created his own distribution company, so like his movies are like available in Walmart, stuff like that. And meanwhile, he's just a dude from like New York or New Jersey or whatever.
Yeah,
he lives in LA now. Cali. Yeah, he lives in LA now. But like, he was just a dude that would he makes cheesy, like, just schlock horror movies. They're really fun, but you can buy them. I really think that Walmart does not look at what they put in their stores. because if they
No,
yeah.
I used to work at Walmart, so I can tell
Okay.
you some of the movies we got in. It was like, what in the hell is
Yeah,
that? Like,
yeah.
how did this even
There's a
get
movie.
here?
There's a movie. I actually mentioned the director Scott Shermer, called Found. It's actually on Shudder right now. And that movie is brutal. It is brutal, and I bought it in the bargain bin at Walmart on DVD. And I was like, what? Like it was like mixed in with all these kids movies and stuff like that. I'm like, they have no idea what they have, no idea. But I highly recommend that one. It gets pretty uncomfortable at times, but it's pretty brutal.
Now, was it
Sign me up,
Headless?
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah.
Was Headless the sequel or was Found the sequel?
No, Found was first. So in this movie, like it's almost like an anthology. Like there's little like movies that they play, like little clips, and one of them was called Headless, and they end up making a feature of Headless, and it's legit one of the goriest movies I've seen in a long time. It's very inappropriate.
Right.
Don't watch it with kids. The best part was that we had them on, and I made one of our old guys that we used to work with, Leo. He actually runs the Dorkening Podcast Network, and we made him watch it. And he's not a big horror guy. He's like, right away, he's like, "What the fuck did you just make me watch?" Yeah, it's pretty brutal. But yeah, you should check it out. We can give you a list of some stuff.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, Tony, you were saying something?
No, I was gonna say with it being on Amazon Prime and stuff. Terrifier was on Netflix, so that's a little bit different. But with the streaming, services and whatever, you said you want to try to get on Shudder. Now, did you ever try to do like the film festival route or even like
That
a
is
convention
actually-
route kind of deal?
Starting hopefully, once in the spring, I plan on submitting it to a few, kind of start to get it, a wider audience, because we have had a lot of good luck streaming, but I would love to get it into some festivals and really even make the audience even wider, and hopefully will open some doors and some new opportunities for us with it.
Yeah, that'd be sick. I mean, because I've heard the story where people are at a festival, and then next thing you know, they're signing a deal, But at the same time, too, like I said, you want to be careful because there are some companies that are out there that I am a big fan of. Like what I'll tell you after the show that I'm a big fan of, and they will take complete control of your movie and re-edit it and just be like, give me all the raw footage, give me all the music, it's ours, and then So, but that being said, just look at what read what you're signing first, because it's sad.
Exactly.
It's you're a director, you're a writer, you're an effects guy, and what you're making, you want it to be your vision,
Exactly.
So so keep going that route, I guess. Right?
Yeah, that is absolutely the plan.
It's weird because there's a little bit of a delay. So I say something and then it's like, okay, yeah. But now, have you ever looked at like streaming on Tubi? Because like not to bash Amazon Prime, because Amazon Prime is great. I watch a lot of stuff on Amazon Prime.
It is Amazon, so
right. But if you look at my order history, it's like nonstop. but like, so from what I understand is that people actually make more money off Tubi than they do off Amazon.
It is something I've thought about looking into. I'm gonna have to do a little more research into that.
There's a movie. Sorry if anyone's offended by the language, but there's a movie called "Don't Fuck in the Woods." I don't know if you ever heard of it. They were on Amazon
I have not,
Prime,
but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, they were on Prime, and then they moved over to Tubi, and he's like, "I've made like easily twice as much money as I made on Amazon."
Well, I'm really gonna have to look into that then.
Yeah, and it's the thing is, there's ads, but they put them in good spots. Like they don't put them in spots where it's like and it's ad driven, and every time anyone watches it, you get money. I don't know. I mean, and it also depends on the time of day. Like if you watch it during the day, there's more ads. If you watch it later at night, there's maybe like 3 ads.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tubi's pretty awesome. There's a lot of good stuff on there. I mean, if you can deal with the ads.
Yeah, I've got no issues. And I'm gonna have to look into that because I would like to make a little bit more money off it, because the royalties you get from Amazon aren't, it's something, I can say I'm getting royalty checks from it, but it's nothing, you can't live off of it.
Right. So yeah, I would look into it. It's and then not to mention too, it's free for everybody. You don't have to have Prime to,
exactly.
So you can just literally just throw a link out there and be like, here you go, check out my movie. But yeah, It's pretty great, and that's, I guess, one of the good things about the pandemic is that it's giving more independent artists more outlets, I think, because
Yeah,
Tubi's
a lot of
kind of blown
people.
up since then, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people are watching, from home, so it gives a lot of those where you can't go see it in a theater. It gives a lot of smaller, companies and stuff easier access to viewers.
Yeah.
But then I think people are actually, because the other thing too with the pandemic, the fact that there wasn't any mainstream stuff out there, I think people are actually now have their eyes open for the lower, like the independent stuff that they might not have known before. Like
Yeah,
before, people had, it's like, oh, I want to see something new. Well, it's out there. You just got to look for it. And I don't think people ever took the time to sit down and looked at different places. Now the fact that that's all they had to watch for a year because nothing big was being made. It was like, okay, now here comes the surge of independent actor, like directors and stuff, and making their movies.
yeah.
I think that kind of opened their eyes to the fact that there is something else out there. So,
Which I'm sure that definitely helped us, which is, where we kind of see like the weird spikes in, okay, this week a ton of people are watching it for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. Like even with like YouTube or with podcasting, you can see where people are listening or watching from, and it's weird. It's like, okay, I don't know anyone in Nigeria. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
that was
fall for your scheme, but whatever.
that was kind of the weird thing about looking, at, oh, how many people are watching it. After the first week, it got to the point where like, okay, everybody I know has already seen it. Why are there people in the United Kingdom watching it? And like, why are all these people I've never met before? It's cool getting to see.
That is
And
pretty
it's
awesome.
really it's even gotten more views than like anything we've done on YouTube. It's I don't know why or how, but it is really cool getting to see it getting that kind of traffic.
Yeah. So Aaron Morton, I don't know if you know Aaron.
Yeah,
Is that
he
somebody you know?
actually has some music in the movie. He's a good friend of mine.
Oh, nice. Well, good job, Aaron. And I do notice that that's a picture I believe with Mick Foley. So that's pretty
That is
awesome.
Mick Foley. Yeah, he met him not too long ago. It's like one of his heroes.
Yeah, I years ago I worked for a company called AJ Wright, and they actually had Mick Foley come in to do a store opening, and it was a cluster F because everyone that came in there just like was ripping open sock packages and making them sign socks, stuff like that. But anyways, we have Dimitri Max is saying, "Way to go, Nick! Awesome film, good job."
Oh, thank you, Dimitri.
And Tony, Mr. Tony of the Dead, is bringing up the fact that like the last long diatribe that you said, Tony, you had a freeze frame on the
yeah,
whole time.
and my mouth.
Yeah.
I looked at it too. I usually don't try to look at myself when I talk, but then the moment I looked, my face was like contorted and stuff like that. So
It's pretty good. It was like either you're frozen or you're an awesome ventriloquist. And yeah, so Tony, you should check out his movie. It's called Flesh. It's on Prime for free if you have Prime. Lots of really cool practical effects, and just it's very, very pleasant to look at.
But then, of course, Tony is also a collector, so
Yes.
it is the physical media is out there. So you said it's on your Etsy that people can purchase it.
Yep, it's just on our Wendigo Pictures Etsy store. We've got like T-shirts, some posters, but we've got the physical copy of it's got a Blu-ray and a DVD, and it's only like $10.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
You should. I mean, I'm just saying, you should sell for more. That being said, I'm going to jump on that. But the $10 is a good deal. But yeah, that's it's weird. Like sometimes artists I don't think know what to sell their stuff for. Like they undersell
It
themselves.
was more one of those, I want people to have it. And I
Yeah.
I worry, I don't want to make it too much and nobody's going to buy it. I was like, well, $10. It doesn't take me that much time to make them. I might as well just, that sounds good to me.
Yeah. Oh well.
And then the
I
other
agree.
thing I was saying too, a couple different times too, because I don't like to say it, but it seems like physical media is slowly. I mean, you look at Walmarts and you look at Best Buys and stuff like that. It's like a desert wasteland that you walk in there, and it used to be like aisles of it. Now it's like a half an aisle, and it's just like. But the one thing what collectors love is like even if you have like a limited run where you put like 100, and then you put that little number on there, it's like 1 out of 100. You'd sell those things out like quick because it's like.
That's my
Collectors
favorite
love
thing
to have it.
when I get those.
Yeah, you should totally do it. And it also helps. Like, so I mean, I don't know if Mr. Tony the Dead will do a review or not, but I mean that helps as well. So like even reaching out to YouTubers to see if they'll check out your movie and whatever, give an honest review, and maybe they'll draw more traffic. But yeah, again, if you can make more money off Tubi, I would go that route just because.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that.
On the next project.
It's definitely something I have kicked around. I haven't had anybody to talk to about it that really knows much about it. So it's definitely giving me some more information on it, which is good.
So go reach out to the guys from Don't Fuck in the Woods and pick their brains. I believe that there's a sequel to that movie coming out too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still Don't Fuck in the Woods or something like that. I don't know. It's a fun movie. Too. It's a fun movie. I recommend it. Sequel. Bring it, Nikki. Jesus, Nikki. That's Dimitri Max. Yeah. So it's about that time. I'm going to start wrapping things up. So where can people follow you to find out news on your production company, and just where do you post about the movie and about your stuff?
We've got our website, wendigopictures.com. Otherwise, we're on Instagram and Facebook for Wendigo Pictures. We're also on TikTok. Wendigo Pictures, we posted some short scenes from the movies and a few other things we're working on. It's pretty much any kind of social media. Look up Wendigo Pictures, and that's where you'll follow. And we try to keep everything fairly up to date with what we're working on.
Nice. And Sydney Barnes is just saying that a lot of people have asked for a sequel. So there you go.
Yeah, she was in the movie.
Yeah. So there you go, Sydney. Good job. Let me see. And that's true. A lot of people request a sequel. So there you go. Now you have something that, well, you already have some other stuff in the works. You get those out of the way. I like a good anthology. I mean, there's a lot of anthologies that are out there. You said you were thinking of throwing around the idea of an anthology, which I think is cool. And
they're a lot easier to do. With a limited budget,
a bunch of shorts and just put them together. With a wraparound. Yeah. But in that situation, is it something where you would direct all of them, or would you just certain segments? Or
I would like to either direct or like co-direct. There's one of my actors, Roz, who was in the movie. There's one we're talking about. We're going to co-direct. So I'd like to at least have some kind of hand in it at least.
Yeah. That's cool. Because that's one thing I was going to say is like sometimes if it's like one director, you get to see their take on different genres of horror, even, subgenres. Yeah. So that's kind of neat just to see how they would tackle it.
I've never gotten to direct anything that I didn't, solely write or, write and then have a co-writer with. So it's something I'm looking forward to direct something that I didn't, it's not my idea. I didn't write it.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, go check out Wendigo Pictures everywhere, including TikTok. Tony has a TikTok as well. He does twerk, and he twerks for charity.
Listen, at that point in time, if I ever did that, I'd get sued because everyone would go blind.
Well, no. What it is you twerk for charity. You twerk for charity, and people are thinking of it the wrong way. They're not paying you to twerk; they're paying you to stop, and that money goes to charity.
I totally forgot.
Yeah, that's how it works. So besides your TikTok, Tony, TikTok Tony? There you go. Where can people find you?
You can find me at Tony Has Nine Fingers on YouTube, where I do movie reviews, unboxings, anything movie related. You'll find me on there. Tony Has Nine Fingers. Tony Has Nine Fingers on Twitter, which I hardly ever use. Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I show off the movies behind me. At the aforementioned TikTok, which is Tony Has Nine Fingers, where I'll do show off movies and stuff. And then, of course, here on the Wicked Horror Show every Tuesday night. Well, most Tuesday nights, I say.
When I'm not sick. Way to bring it up, Tony.
But most Tuesday nights here on the Wicked Horror Show. And, of course, check out the Wicked Horror Show's Instagram so you can see who's coming on and past guests and stuff like that. Kevin?
Yes. You can find me besides here on Tuesday nights and doing the reviews with the 13th Wolfman. You can also find me on Black and White Fright. And unfortunately, the last episode of Secret Underground Hideout was recorded just recently. So go check that one out. It was fun. We played a prank on one of the other guys, and he totally believed it. So that was a good time. But unfortunately, that show is done for the time being. But all of those shows are on the Dorkening Podcast Network. So go to thedorkening.com to find out more information there. And besides this is a video show, but the audio for this is going to go up as well. So if you're listening to this, come over here and play on Tuesday nights. because there's an open chat room. People can ask questions. People can make comments. People can.
And then, of course, you
comment
could
on,
actually see
Tony's-
the trailers that we play instead of just hearing
listening
them.
to trailers. That's crazy. But anyways, so yeah, go check that out. Thanks for watching /listening, and have a good night. Goodbye.